Hello, everyone. This is Francine Crawford from Autumn is Here. I am your host tonight. I had another show for you, but due to technical difficulties, I could not show it, so I will show that next week. But I thank you for tuning in. You have me today. And today I want to talk about something that sometimes people don't go into too much. They don't talk about it. If you care for a loved one and they passed away, no one talks about possibly having regrets. And sometimes people can't deal with that, or they soften it by kind of saying that they have wishes and stuff like that. And sometimes you do. You have wishes. You hope that you would have known better or did better. But sometimes you do have regrets. You have things that you think about that makes you a little sad, or feeling like, wow, I wish that I could have done this, or I was able to do this, or I knew this so that I can take care of my loved one better. Of course, I've had regrets when my mom had Alzheimer's, that I didn't know enough about Alzheimer's. I didn't recognize it in time. I didn't know where to get help from when I did know about it. And I didn't know that there was help for me. I didn't even know I kind of needed help. I just was doing what I was doing, and it was wearing me down. But I know now, I have information now that I could have gotten her better help. I would have made better decisions if I had the information. So yes, I do have a regret. That is a regret, because you want to do the best for your loved one. I want to do the best for my mom. And if I would have known, I would have been able to put some more things in place. If I would have planned ahead of time or thought about her even getting older, getting sick, I would have been able to do different things. Before my mom got sick, there was a time when I had took care of my uncle. I met him on my father's side. I met him probably in 1994, and he was a sweet young man. He was an old man. He was 85, about 85 years old. And he was sweet and alert, and he was a gentleman, and he drove, and he would drive upstate to see his other brother, which they were the only two that were still here. So he would see him, and, he was too old to be driving, but that's what he did. So, which was fine. And then a few years later, after he lost his only brother that was still alive, he stopped everything immediately. He stopped driving. He started using a cane. So he started deteriorating. And then at that time, my other uncle's, his wife said, he needs to be probably in a facility, but he should be up here near me, so I can go take him lunch and things like that. And I was like, okay, fine, that's sure. So that's good. So I went, and I would go visit, but she would, do what she did. But eventually she moved away, and I decided to take him and bring him closer to home, bring him closer to Queens. He lived in Queens, and I figured that his church would know, and they would go visit him and things like that. And when he was in this facility, he was okay. We visited him. But one time I had a problem with the facility, and it was an administrative problem, and I could not get them on the phone. It was back and forth, back and forth. And then I went there. When I went there, I realized that the lady who was in charge of administration, because I visited normally at night, so I never saw the offices, she did everything. Like, she was in charge of everything. And then when I saw her, we were trying to talk business, and she had to go check the machines. I didn't know what she was talking about, but she went to check the washing machines, and she brought me down there, and she was just talking. She just was talking, just a lot of stuff. And she goes, oh, well, we have to pay for all these things, and we have to pay for clean all these things. And I was like, clean what? I saw all these white things. I didn't know it was clean. Everything was clean. It was a nice, clean area. And she's like, oh, these diapers. I was like, diapers? Like, this is like 2000. Diapers? I said, this is what you use, diapers? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, why do you use diapers now? Like, I was just confused. So it's just like, oh no, they're perfectly fine. They're safe. They're better than blah, 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 whatever. So I was confused, but at that time I didn't know much about facilities and things like that. So I was like, okay, I just thought that was strange and weird. Eventually my uncle got sick, and he went to the hospital. And when he went to the hospital, they called me down to go to the hospital. I went to see him, and the doctors and nurses were just examining him, and they said, "Where was he?" And I said, "What do you mean, where was he?" He said, "Where did he come from?" I said, "He came from a nursing home." I believe I told him the nursing home, and they said, "Well, it shouldn't be like this." And I was like, I didn't know what he was talking about. So he says, "Come here, let me show you." And when he showed me, he pulled back his robe and he showed me, and he had sores on his back and his butt, and they were really bad. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I didn't really know where that came from. I didn't know about bed sores then. And they never said that's what it was. They just, we obviously saw that there was a problem and they were going to treat him and whatever, but he said it shouldn't be like this. They never gave me any other information. So I didn't totally understand. And I kind of thought, well, his sickness, maybe he has a sickness, or he's older, his body's deteriorating. I wasn't really sure. Shortly after that, he passed away. He passed away from that. And I understand. I understand that he had bed sores. I understand that they weren't moving him. I understand that they had him in diapers, so it probably wasn't dry enough. And this is 2000. So I didn't know. And if you know more, you do more. If you know better, you do better. And I remember feeling the weight of being responsible for that, being responsible for him, and not making sure that he was in the best care. It was a lot of tension. It was a lot of weight on me. And I remember feeling that heaviness, like, oh my God, this is my responsibility, and feeling really bad. So yes, I have regrets. That is a situation that I do regret. Not to say that I didn't do it on purpose or anything like that, but I do wish that I had help and I had more information and I knew the right questions. I remember when I was in school at that time and I had video equipment in my car, and I remember saying when they showed me his back that, oh, I should take video of this. And I was like, no, but that's not appropriate, right? The doctors and nurses are not going to let me do that. That doesn't make sense. But I really wish I would have. So, I have a regret. I have a regret that I second guessed myself, and I should have gotten video for that. And one of the things about having regrets is second guessing yourself. We're not doctors. We're not nurses. We don't understand some of the medical terminology and things like that, but we do have common sense. And we need to not second guess ourselves and use our common sense when it comes to our loved one and our parents. We need to, I know it's hard and it's a lot of pressure on us, and in the middle of all the stuff you're emotional and you're trying to think right and make the sound decisions, but we do have common sense. Don't be intimidated by doctors and nurses. Just understand that, stay focused on what you're supposed to do, and it's supposed to give the person the best care or get the best care for your loved one. So try to be able to be proactive in that and things like that, so you won't have regrets. So you won't have regrets after they've gone or passed away. You won't have any regrets. There are other regrets that you may have if you may regret just not having as many conversations that you should have had with your parents, that there were things that were unanswered. There were things that you didn't know about. There were things that you wish you would experience with them or had them tell you about. Maybe they're growing up or they're past or your grandmother or your grandfather, things like that you didn't ask them about. Ask them about it now so you don't have any regrets. Find out more about their health, the situation, so you know what questions to ask or information to give. It's good to have enough information, that you have enough information to give the doctors and the facility so they'll know better how to treat your loved one. You don't want to have any regrets on any kind of decision that you made. Now, I understand that you do the best you can. I don't feel guilty about anything I've done because it was what I knew. Whatever I did was the best that I knew at the time, whether it was my mom or my uncle or whatever. It was the best I knew at the time. So, but I do really regret that I was not able to give them, oversee and supervise the best care for them. But when you know you did the best you can deal with that. You can deal with that. You can, just be able to understand that your loved one loves you, understand that you did the best. They know you did the best. And you'll know for next time, or you'll know for when your neighbor or your cousin, your sister, your brother, whoever has to take care of their loved one, their spouse, there's something goes wrong, you'll have the answers for some of their questions. You can guide them, you can help them. That's also a way to kind of, get rid of any ill feelings or bad feelings, that you're able to use your information that you didn't know and help somebody else. So I want you not to have any regrets. There are different things that may cause you to have regret. If you think you didn't do as much as someone else, you have two sisters and you didn't assist them, or you didn't step in when it was necessary, or you didn't think that it was important, but it was important when people needed you. Listen, one of the things I'll say is this: it's not about you. It's not about you when your loved one is ill. It's about them and their care. And it's easier if you think that way. If you think that, okay, it's not about, your regular routine, your life and everything that's going on with you. You have to make some adjustments. You might have to take some days off. You might have to sit with them in a hospital. You might have to second guess the doctors, get a second opinion. You might have to do that. If you're feeling uncomfortable about something, ask for a second opinion, or ask your private doctor. I remember when my brother was sick, I actually went to my doctor and asked him, explained the situation, and I asked him about them not taking certain tests. And he explained to me. So sometimes you have to be the one to be proactive, so you won't have any regrets. So it's hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot wearing on you, but you have to put yourself in that position that if you're going to be a caregiver, it's going to be hard. You're going to need to care for them, and you're going to probably need other people that's going to help you also. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask, because some people will say, wow, I wish I would have known. I would have helped you, So if you need help, ask. If you do the best that you can, you go away with things that you didn't do or you did not know to do, but that's okay. It's normal. It's normal to have a regret. Sometimes it's normal to wish you knew or had hoped that you knew this or that. Is normal. That's why my show, Autumn is Here, has resources, has information, has people who are caregivers who are sharing their stories. Is so important because, you'll learn from that. And if you're not in that situation where you're taking care of a loved one or your parents are not in need right now, keep these things in the back of your mind. So this way you can ask the right questions, that you can watch them and see if they're, it's time for them to have care. You can make sure that you have as much information as you have on possibilities of things that may happen. You have to be able to switch off from your regular routine. That's just part of it. That's just part of it. And hopefully you'll be able to do it and be able to be an asset to them and be able to be a support system to them. And prayerfully you'll have some extra help, because right now, there are facilities and there are places that can give you, the caregiver, some help and some support also. So it doesn't always have to come from your family. It can come from an outside agency or something like that. So please be informed that you can call Department of Aging and departments like that to get extra help if you need. And, if you have a complaint or something, don't feel bad about complaining. One of the things I'll tell people, go right to administration. People are at the front desk, they're taking information, things like that. If you're not getting anything done and they're not getting what you need, go right to administration. Ask them for who's the administrator if you're in a facility. Know that there's so many things to this, that if you have a situation where there's somebody who's sick and they need extra attention, where you might have to change them from one nursing home to another nursing home, where you may have to get them special help because of physical issues, then if the facility has administration, they have social workers, they have all that, but they may not be on a timeline. But if you have insurance, your insurance may be on a timeline. And if you don't do things in a timely manner, your insurance may drop you. So make sure that even if they're not rushing, you're being proactive, you're rushing, you're asking your insurance company, how long do I have to get this information to you or whatever? So you push the facility. You don't want to say, oh man, I feel bad. I wish I didn't drop the ball, or I wish I wouldn't have trusted the facility to handle the situation. You're going to have to be the person. Again, we don't want any regrets. We're trying not to have any regrets. You do the best you can. You try not to have any regrets. So if you know this information, I just want you to use it. I just want to keep it in the back of your mind that there are certain things that we can do that can help in a situation that will make us be able to feel that, okay, we're okay, we did the best we can, and your loved one is being taken care of well. So yes, sometimes we don't talk about having regrets, and maybe some people don't have any regrets, and that's awesome. That is awesome. But sometimes you do. It's kind of natural. If you do, it's a natural feeling. But know that your loved one knows that you did the best you can. And know that we don't have all the answers. We will never have 100% of answers how to take care of our aging parents. We will not have 100% answers. We will not do 100%. There's nobody that does that. But if you know that you did the best you can, then it's all good. All right, that's my show for today. I thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week, and we will have some interviews for you. Okay, thank you. Good night.